CHRISROSS. I am Barton McNeil's cousin. I am here to support Bart every step of the way, and hopefully I'll be able to embrace him when he gets out.
How confident do you feel after today?
Well, I wouldn't say super confident. It's kind of scary when you're not part of the whole legal system to know that, it takes time. And one thing is for certain is that the wheels of justice turn slowly, and we're seeing that. The judge has said that he's going to take 60 days in which to make a ruling, which is a reasonable amount of time given that there's a lot of information for him to take a look at to make the just ruling that we expect that he will. It showed that Bart's attorneys are absolutely very well prepared, but they would be hamstrung if they cannot present all of the evidence that's been found at this evidentiary hearing. Mary Koll uses the word if. Well, you can't answer a word if unless you see all of the evidence before you. So if there's a question that she has, if, then we need to therefore see all of the evidence. She introduces some misinformation for the judge that's hearing this and presiding over this, the fact finder, and that is that there's an assertion that Barton McNeil and Mizook Nowlin slept in the deathbed of Christina McNeil, and that is wholly false. That's patently false. That's found in no other than the court record itself. So if anyone were to take the time to go through the transcripts, Mizook was asked when the last time they had sex. It was at her apartment. Bart was asked when was the last time that he had sex, and in his police interview he said exactly when it was, which was the week prior. So there was no sex ever that Mary Koll is bringing and introducing in this setting. And also factually is known in the court record that the last time that they slept together was days earlier, and that they both agreed that there was no sex. And so part of, when you look at the evidence that was found where Mizook's hair is found in the bed and her touch DNA is found in the bed, and you look at that time in that era, and Bart is a balding guy. You have to look no further than his mugshot to see that this guy is balding. And so if the state's assertion is that this bedding was unclean and it was soiled, and therefore that's why Mizook's DNA should be found in it, then why wouldn't at least one of these guys' hair follicles fallen out? I mean, he's sleeping with his bed, and he's turning and tossing at night, and gosh, at what point in time should one of his hair follicles made it out? So I think that until you see all of the evidence, that's what's really critically important, and you really shouldn't have it both ways and be able to cherry pick. You want to be able to look at the evidence in the aggregate, and that's what the judge has been asked to do by Bart's attorneys, and I think he should agree with their argument.
I know the state is arguing that hair could have been elsewhere in the room and it could have been there and blown this way. They use the word lingering. What's your response to that?
I don't think the hair is all that important. I think the touch DNA is what's important. This is science that didn't exist at that point in time, and the report shows that it was found in no less than 6 quadrants of that bedding, and Bart has more than enough, I think, instances to show that bedding was indeed freshly laundered and he had picked it up. That was one of the things he prided himself as a father, that he knew that the schedule was such that he was going to have Christina that Monday evening, and he loved it when he took his laundry into that laundromat, because when it's fluff and fold, and I do my own laundry, and my laundry doesn't come out smelling fresh and clean, but if you look at the forensic science, the woman that had actually analyzed that bedding, it was an Illinois state crime lab, she actually put in a side margin that the bedding smelled clean and fresh. And I don't think that you would find that if someone had actually been sleeping in that bedding for well over a week or 2 weeks or whatever it is that Mary Koll's trying to assert in her argument there.
Evidentiary hearing, but both sides agree that they want that. Do you think it's going to take the full 60 days?
Yeah, absolutely, especially with the caveat that the schedule is getting a bit discombobulated and it might extend a little bit, and an apology in advance. So yeah, I would fully expect that it's probably going to be, hopefully within 60 days. For me, I'd make the decision right here and now. But I'm not the judge, and so these things do take time, and as people have said before, and so these things do take time, and as people have said before, the wheels of justice turn ever slowly, and that is true. Bart's been in jail now for 12 years, since the time Mazook murdered Linda Tida, and here we are 12 years later. Here we are 12 years later, but it seemed to me and to a lot of others, including the Innocence Projects that took the case, immediately that this guy, this is likely a case of genuine innocence, because the person he always claimed had murdered his daughter went and manually strangled her mother-in-law. And what is that, just a coincidence? I don't think so, and I don't think anybody else thinks so. I think Bart has gone way and above and beyond to prove that he is innocent, that the preponderance, there's no shadow of a doubt that he's innocent. I think that he's met that at this point in time, and so therefore he deserves absolutely a new trial, and ultimately that will culminate with likely the charges to be dismissed, because there's no jury today that would ever convict him, given the overwhelming evidence that now exists to support his claims of innocence.
Did you get to say anything to him right before he walked out, or maybe when he...
No, not at all. Fortunately, I'm on his approved caller list, and he can email me, and I know I'll be talking to him probably tomorrow or the following day. But no, they're very strict. I mean, I was really kind of surprised. I was really disheartened to see how they brought him into this hearing. All shackled and manacled. He's a prisoner. They treat these people, almost like, worse than a pet dog, and everybody got to see that. He comes, clinking out, all bound up with a waist chain and handcuffs, and not just handcuffs that go like this, but handcuffs that are like, you can't even move them. Why? Because there's a lock between that. So you gotta, unlock it from the waist chain, and now you've gotta, unlock the box, so now you can unlock the handcuffs. And it's just a travesty to see, on his day, the first time that he's been able to travel 3.5 hours from his jail. He finally arrives here, beautiful day, but he comes in hobbled into the courtroom in front of all of his supporters and his legal team. I think that really made me sad. I'm sure it made a lot of other people in the courtroom sad to see Bart like that.
He seemed relieved and happy to see so many supporters there. I could see him smiling and waving to you guys.
Yeah, absolutely. He is buoyed.
What's it mean to have that support? This pretty full courtroom for a 20-plus-year-old case. What's it mean to have the support around you right now?
Boy, I think it's, for him, fantastic. I mean, I think that if I were him, he's able to walk tall and to know that he's got this support, and I'm certain that it gives him hope and it buoys his spirits each and every day that he has to be behind bars.
Any questions we haven't asked you? Anything you think that's important to talk about?
No. I think that I'm going to be making many more trips out here. I was kind of hoping there'd be one big grand evidentiary hearing, but it sounds as though it's going to be a process. And I know that I was hoping that Bart would be out and be released and be a free man again, at least bonded out or whatever the circumstance might be in 2022. But now it's certainly looking like this could very easily become 2023. Boy, I'd hate to think of him having to be in for as long as he has. I mean, is this going to be a quarter century wrongful conviction? Is 24 years going to become 25 years? I sure hope not.